All right, hi everybody. So today we're going to be talking about trade schools. It's a very important topic, especially for I believe a lot of students in this class, and something that I'm actually pushing one of my sons to do as we go forward, because he's doesn't want to go the traditional route like some of you. So let's begin. So, what percent of high school students are interested in careers in the trade skills industry? If you guys click on this link, you guys put your own answer down first. And then what's surprising to me is that trade skills are construction, plumbing. It's 20%. Now here's what that's from the Department of Education Research. Now here's what's very interesting to me. If you click on this link right here, there's an article that came out from NPR.org, and this came out 2 years ago about how high-paying trade jobs are sitting empty while high school grads line up for university. I would highly recommend, if you're interested in going to trade school, to actually read this article. I've heard there's a big problem with the fact that trade schools are being abandoned by the younger generation. And what that's causing is it's causing an influx of older individuals to stay in longer than they wanted to, and that the average median age for somebody that works for the city of Mesa is 55 years old. If you imagine yourself getting a trade and working for the city, ladies and gentlemen, that would be a job that you should probably look into, because you get awesome benefits. It's something that when non-essential times like now you're shut down, you are still considered an essential personnel because you work for the city, because you're maintaining things. So it's something that should not be looked down upon. I would highly recommend you read this article, and then to think about the trade school options as we go through. So there's a cool little video that they have here, an EduPuzzle. Now what I'm going to do is pause this real quick and actually go to the YouTube link, because it talks about what are the most lucrative trades, and it's a 6-minute video that I want you guys to watch. And like I said, open it on the YouTube link.
My wife likes to tell people that he looks very nice.
We'll watch it together.
The average student loan borrower graduates with around $37,000 in debt and a monthly payment of almost $400. Considering that the average starting salary for a college graduate is around $50,000, that means that many recent grads will have to fork over more than 10% of their paycheck for years to manage their college loans. That's quite a burden to be carrying at the start of one's journey.
It's no wonder then that many young people faced with this prospect are looking for alternate ways to prepare for their future. And one such option is trade school, otherwise known as vocational school or CTE. The purpose of these programs is to train you for a very specific career, and they tend to be shorter and cheaper than a 4-year degree, so you can get into the workforce and quickly start making money.
If trade school is something you're considering, you might be wondering what kind of training will offer the best bang for your buck. Of course, salaries can fluctuate based on time, region, and your level of experience, but here's a rough countdown of 10 of the most lucrative trades that you could train for in 2 years or less. Number 10, heavy equipment operator.
Number 9, HVAC technician.
Number 8, paralegal.
Number 7, plumber.
Number 6, electrician.
Number 5, geological and petroleum technician.
Number 4, sonographer.
Number 3, dental hygienist.
Number 2, elevator installer/repairer.
And number 1, radiation therapist.
Keep in mind, these are median salaries, meaning half the workers in these fields make more and half make less. So while you probably won't make this much right out of trade school, there is potential to earn an even higher salary someday. Because of health and safety demands, many of these careers require licensure or apprenticeships or both. And while some employers might prefer a bachelor's degree, all of these fields should be accessible to someone with just a 2-year associate's degree.
Salary isn't the only factor that makes these careers attractive. The job growth percentage represents how much employment is expected to increase by 2026. In other words, how much the demand for workers in each field will rise. And you can see that most of them are well above the general employment growth rate.
Alright, so make sure you guys see that growth rate at the bottom of 7%, and noted that all of these jobs are a lot higher.
7%. This might be because these jobs are more difficult to outsource than, say, computer programming or manufacturing. Office buildings and homes will always need plumbing and air conditioning, and you can't send a patient overseas for a sonogram or a teeth cleaning.
This might sound promising, but there are some important caveats. First of all, many trade schools are for profit, so they're incentivized to use aggressive recruiting strategies, including exaggerating their results. In 2015, one of the largest such companies, Corinthian Colleges, was fined $30 million and forced to close its 28 schools because it was using fraudulent data to promise unrealistic employment prospects to potential students.
And because these schools often target low-income students whose loans are backed by the federal government, there's no incentive for them to keep tuition low and no consequences for poor results. This has contributed greatly to the national student debt crisis, with over 40% of for-profit college students eventually defaulting on their loans.
Even if you find a reputable, affordable vocational school, you should be aware of the trade-off. That training may allow you to make more money right after graduation, but in the long run, a 4-year bachelor's degree will eventually earn a higher salary. This is partly because the modern job market tends to reward flexibility. It's estimated that the average American changes careers between 3 and 7 times in their lifetime. Demographic and technological changes can reduce demand for some jobs while increasing others, and someone who's trained in only one very specialized skill will have more trouble adapting than someone with a more rounded education.
There are other benefits to a 4-year college education that are harder to quantify, like leadership, communication, and analytical skills. If after 20 years of fixing pipes, Pete decides to start his own plumbing business, he's going to have to contend with economic theory, social demographics, employee management, client relationships, marketing, and design. He'll be trading in his tool belt for a whole new set of skills that a strictly mechanical education might not have prepared him for.
There is a movement to make vocational training more holistic, to include more extensive classes on things like history, social sciences, and writing. So vocational students not only prepare for a career, but understand how that career fits into the overall economy and how it might change in the future. Unfortunately, many people still see trade school as nothing more than an alternative for people not smart enough to attend 4-year college. Vocational teachers in high schools often complain that their classes are treated as a place to stick problem students.
In fact, there are many reasons someone might opt for CTE that have nothing to do with academic capabilities. It might be simply unfeasible to spend 4 years at an expensive university, followed by lengthy internships before one can even start to make an entry-level salary. And a lot of people who seek vocational training genuinely love their work. Many of the trades on this list report higher than average job satisfaction ratings.
Like any education, you should research vocational schools before enrolling and speak directly to graduates about their experience. And ask yourself honestly whether you'd be happy practicing this one trade for the rest of your life.
If the answer is no, you should think about supplementing your training with more general academics, perhaps at a local community college, so you'll have the flexibility to shift gears in the future. And that's our 2 cents.
All right, so what I want to make sure you guys understand is when you're looking through this, we have talked about this before, but when it talks about a for-profit school, that'd be like the University of Phoenix or some of the other trade schools that have been around. The good news is that Maricopa Community Colleges through Gateway College actually provides trade school training and an associate's degree. So what I would do is recommend that as we go through this process that you guys would look those up. We personally in my family have looked those up. That you guys take the time to look and see what they talked about on that video is getting you a 2-year associate's degree plus a trade certification. It's very important that you guys do that. So answer those questions right now about what the purpose of a trade school is, and then thinking about the potential not only now but in the future. Vocational training guide. So here's a little thing also that came up. It's a how-to guide. So what I want you guys to do is walk through this program and see what the difference is. Like if I choose an associate's degree in I would say science and engineering, and then you have a subject where it'd be engineering management. You could choose a program And guess what it does? It'll show you kind of where you can go to get those types of degrees. It's very interesting that if you guys see, a lot of these are offered online, and what a better way to get you prepared right now is for you guys to understand going to school online is not a big deal. I went to school online. I completed my entire bachelor's degree online from a university in Trenton, New Jersey that I have never been to, nor will I ever go to. So what I want you guys to do is, what's cool about Learn How to Become is that this focuses it in on what you guys want to do. I do know I have a couple of students in here that are looking for just animal stuff as well, and I'm not sure where that would be. You'd want to look, kind of see if they have an associate's degree within. I know there's a vet tech offered at some AT Stills and some other areas. I just don't know if that's an associate's degree. But what you would want to do is find out from Maricopa Community Colleges as well. Google it, search it up. There's tons of information for you guys because it'll combine both a trade school aspect and a traditional degree. Okay, so make sure you guys do those things. These are cool websites and cool resources that I didn't have when you were going around. Now the last thing here is that research project that was from the previous lesson as well, comparing the differences between the degrees. So I would recommend you guys do this and that you look into these resources. They're very cool. Explore the options of trade schools. Things have changed immensely in the years that have come. Don't be shy. Don't think of a negative connotation when you think of a trade school, but think positively, because guess what? It's the beginning of your life. Whatever path you choose now, you'll be able to go down that path later on, ladies and gentlemen, and be flexible with it. You start a trade now, but you trade it just like on that video. You would trade your degree into something else and to expand into a 4-year to become a manager, a contractor, so that you let somebody else do the work, and then you just show up with a tape measure and say, hey, it looks great. Be safe out there, and I look forward to hearing from you guys by email or remind, but just keep pursuing your career and your education. Good luck, everybody.